This was a perfect moment in the middle of a short getaway to an idyllic location on the eastern shore of Lake Michigan. I gathered with family, some braving the cold waters of the lake, all warming themselves by the fire, which succeeded in pushing back the late September chill. It was a special evening during a visit to a city that hasn't always been known for good times. I watched a few videos about Muskegan before I came here. Frankly, those caused me to lower my expectations. Now that I'm here, however, I'm finding that the city has more to offer than I anticipated. This is the most populous city on the eastern shore of Lake Michigan. Apparently, there have been some rough times in the past, but from what I'm seeing, it is now on a much more positive trajectory. Let's take a look at the place. Scenes such as this make it difficult to comprehend the city's past. Muskegan has long been saddled with a bad reputation. High crime, a lack of economic prosperity, and racial segregation have all been associated with this place. Pollution was an issue, and I read one description that classified this area as an industrial dump. Certainly, problems persist, and I don't pretend to know what it is like to live here. As an outsider, though, I found an alluring and flourishing downtown, plus natural spots that rival the beauty seen in destinations that are much more well regarded. Muskegan Lake is a success story. Covering over 4,000 acres, this body of water is a valued amenity for the city. This section of the Lakeshore Trail showcases the gorgeous landscape and is punctuated by thriving habitat for birds and other wildlife. It didn't always look like this. Beginning in 2010, an effort was launched to restore habitat along the lakefront. It covered more than a third of a mile along the shore. Now, just look at the results. There was a period when Muskegan Lake was officially recognized as one of the Great Lakes' most polluted sites. At a time when the western Michigan timber industry was booming, 47 sawmills crowded the lake's banks. The water and other elements of the environment suffered. Additional industry caused more problems. Years of work and $80 million helped transform this portion of the shoreline. Things have improved across the lake to the point that it was just recently removed from the most polluted list. This is the connection point between Muskegan Lake and Lake Michigan. It is called the Muskegan Channel. This is about a mile long and allows for the passage of boats and even freighters between the bodies of water. The largest of the boats that I saw using the channel was this ferry, taking people and vehicles to the Wisconsin side of the lake. Walking along the channel, it is possible to get an education. Every so often, there are informative signs talking about the history and the significance of the waterway today. The Muskegon River naturally cut through the sand to reach Lake Michigan. It was improved to enhance shipping access to the interior harbor. Dredging occurs regularly to maintain a suitable depth. Traveling toward Lake Michigan on the sidewalk that runs along the channel, you can reach the South Pier Head Light. It is a round cast iron structure that stands close to 50 feet tall. As you can see, it is painted solid red. There has been a lighthouse guiding boats in and out of the channel since 1851. The one that you see today has been in place since 1903. This sits on the southern side of the entrance to the channel. The lighthouse is on the National Register of Historic Places. Also sitting beside the channel in the direction of Muskegan Lake is this vessel. It is the USS Silversides Submarine. There is an associated museum, and with paid admission, people can board the craft and get a closer look. I didn't do that, but I was still able to see plenty. In case you weren't able to count that quickly, the decals on the side of the submarine credit it with sinking 30 enemy vessels, including 5 Japanese warships. That is a pretty impressive record. The Silversides was commissioned in 1941 and decommissioned in 1946. It has been a Muskegan since 1987. Near the mouth of the channel on the Lake Michigan end is this wide beachfront area. It is known as Pere Marquette Park. That consists of more than 27 acres. It's one of the most popular places in the city to enjoy some time on the sand. This feels every bit like being at the ocean. The beach is wide and the sand is soft. The waves are lapping onto the shore and the water is incredibly clear. You cannot even see Wisconsin on the other side of the lake. This stretch of beach is raked each day, keeping it as clean and attractive as possible. Quite a few amenities are within the park, including a 200-foot walkway designed to give access to everyone. Another good location for hanging out by the coast is within Muskegan State Park. There are 3 miles of shorefront inside of the park. 2 of those are on Lake Michigan and 1 is on Muskegon Lake. This is on the Lake Michigan side. A cool aspect here is being able to walk amongst the dunes over an established trail system. There is a magnificent stretch of Lake Michigan shorefront in a place called Cruise Park. The site features almost 1 mile of beach, but that is not the most special attraction. Walkways here lead up to the top of some of the towering dunes. Ascending provides a picture-perfect view of the surrounding vicinity. This is without a doubt the highlight of this particular park. A series of boardwalks and steps bring you to the top of this towering dune. By my estimation, right now I'm standing at least 100 feet above lake level. I checked after I visited, and in reality, the dunes rise to a height of around 130 feet. There are dunes in other places in Michigan that are larger, but these are still among the most impressive around. This park covers over 50 acres. On the outskirts of the city is this green space. It's Veterans Memorial Park. This boasts 28 acres, including a lagoon and an island. The location is at the east end of Muskegon Lake. The most interesting part of this park for me is where it is situated. It is right in the middle. It is the median, if you will, of a 4-lane highway. There are numerous memorials within the park aimed at recognizing those who were and are in the armed services. With its location, it is a convenient spot to grab a bit of time in nature. Most of what I've shown so far is not in the downtown of Muskegon. It, however, has so much to see and do. One of the most enjoyable aspects for me came on Saturday morning at the farmers market. As with many such markets, live entertainment was a part of the scene. Here, a duo played Irish music. The space for the market is extensive, with enough room for dozens of vendors. They were selling food and many other items. The market is bustling, and it's a wonderful place to walk around. You get a real sense of the culture of this region and all of the things that are grown in this part of the country. This market operates year-round, although it is only on Saturdays from December through April. The rest of the year, there is activity here on Saturdays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. A flea market also runs from May through September. There are many opportunities to see the remnants of the past in the city. One of the key locations is the Hackley and Hume Historic Site. 2 houses and a barn date back to the late 19th century. Construction began here in 1887. The homes feature Victorian architecture. Hackley and Hume were partners in the timber industry and commonly referred to as lumber barons. Around the corner is this structure, showing a different time in Muskegon's history. It's the Scenic House of the Depression era. This shows a typical setup of the time, when a family inhabited the bottom floor of its home and a boarder occupied the space upstairs. The idea here is to give visitors a sense of what life was like in this part of the country during the Great Depression. Next door to that is another attraction. This is called the Fire Barn Museum. It is a memorial to the men and women who have served as firefighters throughout the history of the city. Pieces of equipment fill the two-story structure, and a replica of sleeping quarters is at the top. There is even an old fire pole in place showing how seconds were saved in times of emergency. An open square in downtown is named for one of those lumber barons. This is Hackley Park, land given to the city by Charles Hackley in 1890. Its original purpose was to honor veterans of the Civil War. Statues of some of the key players in that conflict continue to hold spots within the 2-acre block. At the center is an 80-foot tall soldier's monument. Almost directly adjacent to the park is my favorite attraction in downtown. This is the Muskegan Museum of Art. There is historical work in these galleries from both the United States and Europe. Contemporary pieces are a part of this place as well. The museum as an entity has existed for more than 110 years. There are more than 5,000 paintings, sculptures, and other types of art in the collection. I spent the better part of an hour exploring the various exhibits. Within the past year, an addition to the museum has doubled its size. There is a charge to get inside the Museum of Art, but there's no cost to experience this space. It's the Monet Garden. What once was a vacant lot has been transformed into a pocket of beauty. There are trees, plants, benches, a water feature, and a bridge. It's all an homage to a French park. The Lakeshore Garden Masters tend to the small parcel, so there are always seasonal plantings. Muskegan has cultivated a fair amount of public art. Walk through the city center and you'll find both temporary and permanent pieces. I found quite a bit in a short window. That includes this dominant 45-foot tall stainless steel item that is called Muskegan, Together Rising. This is the portal. It was installed in this spot near downtown as part of the Muskegon City Public Art Initiative. The piece has only been a part of the landscape for a little more than a year. It is huge and heavy, rising more than 40 feet and weighing in at over 12 tons. The design is a tribute to the city's industrial past and a look ahead to its future. This certainly does grab the attention of anyone passing by on the highway. Another big exhibit space downtown belongs to the Museum of History and Science. You'll know you're in the right place when you see the mastodon on the corner. Inside there are 2 floors of displays covering more than 400 million years. A variety of subjects are covered through those presentations, with sections concentrating on the lake, animals and plants, plus human activity. There is even another mastodon, this one much more lifelike than what is seen outside. It's possible to touch the history of Muskegon at this unique spot. This is simply called the Old Indian Burial Ground. Less than an acre in size, there are graves here from possibly as early as 1750. At that time, it was used by the Ottawa tribe. In 1961, a survey found that this is the final resting place of more than 200 individuals. It is said to also include some early settlers. This old railroad depot building has been a part of the city since the late 1800s. It's called Union Station and served the railroad beginning in 1895. Today it has displays from the time when trains were a big part of the landscape. This building features an unusual architecture, which includes a 4-story tower and a hipped roof. The structure is now home to the Convention and Visitors Bureau. There were a number of options for finding a coffee drink in Muskegon. I chose the Exchange Coffee Bar. It had a nice aesthetic and a friendly vibe. They have fully embraced the season here. On the menu are flavors such as creme brulee, pumpkin, and caramel apple. I chose a French toast latte with cold foam, and I have zero complaints. Even on top of the seasonal offerings, the Exchange had plenty of different drinks on the menu. Being so close to the lake, fish is obviously a headliner in many of the city's restaurants. I dropped into the Lakeside Cafe for a bite one afternoon. It offered perch in prime position as the local favorite. I gave it a try. The sandwich here comes with 3 perch fillets, lettuce, American cheese, and lots of tartar sauce. The fish itself is delicate, flaky, and sweet. It is no surprise that this is the most popular item in town. It was a great sandwich and experience inside of a cafe that didn't seem to have changed all that much over the years. I would definitely go back. I opted for a small place in downtown to try a house brewed beer. This is the Rake Beer Project. I went there with my brother and sister-in-law. It didn't offer any of my preferred imperial stouts, so I found something else to drink. There are several places downtown where you can get beer that they brew on the premises. I found one here, it's called Zen Lunatic. It's a hazy IPA, very tasty, quite fruity. The beer was just fine, and as always, I appreciated the chance to try a locally produced beverage. I discovered a lot in Muskegon, but as I said at the beginning, nothing topped the evening on the beach with family and a fire. We had some laughs, caught up on how everyone was doing, and just appreciated the ability to hang out in the same space. The astounding sunset just made a fantastic situation even more memorable. I don't care if you're by an ocean or a great lake. If you have an opportunity to build a campfire on the sand at sunset, take it. It is absolutely magical. It might not be a bad idea to choose a stay near Muskegon for yourself. The city has plenty that will hold your interest, and that can lead to making your own memories. I am taken with Muskegon. My visit exceeded expectations, and I would encourage others to give it a try. The beauty of the lakefront area alone can make the trip worthwhile. I will have more from my time back home in the United States in the next video. I will be across Lake Michigan, where I'll be spending time in Door County, Wisconsin. Come back to Old Alone and Far From Home to catch that.